Day 3 started normally enough with a wonderful breakfast. And then the good captain went and picked up some ice for the coolers. And then he went down below to check on the motors. I was up on the deck putting some fuel in the generator. The only thing left to do was the dangerous task of unplugging the boat.
Told you, right in the daytime they get crazy.
Don't get stung now. You need a hat. Oh, got it. Oh. Oh my gosh.
Oh, Marty, I'll tell you that.
Sorry, buddy.
Come back.
That's why you gotta wear a hat. Always wear a hat. You never know when you have to fend off some bees or something. It seems there's always some sort of insanity that you have to deal with if you're going to be on a boat. The trick is to manage that insanity so it never gets too much out of hand. Controlled chaos this is. With a little push off of the pylon, Mike and I were underway officially. Day 4 had begun, leaving Indiantown Marina and down the channel towards Lake Okeechobee. The water was stained dark brown from all the trees that lined our pathway. There was a good amount of fish in here too, but we didn't have time to stop and fish. We were just trucking along. There wasn't much to see, so we just took it easy, had some good conversation, until the first bridge showed up. This bridge here poses a little bit of a problem to some tall sailboats, because it can only go so high. But for good times, it was no problem. We just scooted right underneath it. The next sight to be seen was the bottom of a roadway. It's always amazing to me to see roads from this angle. We're coming up to a lock, which is open, so we won't have to wait for it. But on the other side of it is Lake Okeechobee. And I gotta tell you, it looks like an ocean. Big. This lock here was left open, and I'm told it's open quite often, unless they're going to do some management of the water levels, like around hurricane season. Sound is funny inside the lock. You get a lot of echo. There's the gates. Bunch of seagulls to greet us. Mine, 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 mine. As we entered the lake, Mike was plotting the course, and I noticed some nastiness up ahead. Ooh, look at the water. Dirty. It just changed. The color of the water changed.
It looks shallow, don't it?
Filthy Okeechobee water. Nasty Okeechobee. It's like bacteria, like a red tide almost. That water goes all the way out to the horizon. I see nothing. I can't see land or anything. I can see it getting real crazy in here if the wind picked up. We actually had very nice weather though. There was nothing really to hinder us, except the anticipation of going across a very large body of water. It's one thing to do it in a sailboat, but when you're out here in a motorboat, you kind of think, what would happen if the engines quit? It's a little bit unsettling to look around and see no land in any direction. It was a long, boring trip across the lake, but little did we know that it wasn't the isolation that we should have been afraid of. What we should have been afraid of was coming up at us at about 8 or 10 miles an hour. see out there where our wake stopped, and the place where we had struck the rocks that lay in waiting just beneath the nasty water. Is the motor still running?
No. That one is. Oh my God! I can't believe I did that. Go ahead and drop the It is one.
You want to try to crank it back up, or are you going to check some?
But I don't know if it's moving.
The boat was still moving under its own power, which was good. We wanted to get out of this minefield back into the channel. I can't see anything, man. The water's just gross.
Okay.
Look, I was looking and I didn't see it.
I see the grass.
Oh yeah. Leaving the channel was a discussion that we had just had. We had differing opinions on it. Now we were fearful we might hit again on the way back to the channel.
We were just talking about that.
Uh-huh. You heading back towards the channel, eh?
Yes. Oh my God.
I decided it was a good idea to go inside and make sure we weren't taking on water. Might have dented your propeller a little bit. Yeah, I want to check the hatch first. Some water coming in, that's good. All right, you're neutral. I'm going to crank that right motor. Whew.
Did it crank?
No.
All right, watch me here. What did it do?
I'm assuming you're neutral.
Yeah. Hopefully, I have to look. I need to look and see.
Going to get us back in the.
Yeah, that's what I want to look here. I'm wearing the channel. Then we're gonna drop the anchor. No, I have to go down and look. Wow, I can't believe that, Marty.
I went up front, put the anchor down, because Mike wanted to go down below and have a look. But first he had a little bit of good news for us. Your anchor's down.
It did go in the gear. You hear me?
I hear you.
I think that dragging was from it being hot. It does that when it gets hot.
Next time, listen to your friend Marty.
Well, that's one of the videos. Stay in the channel. We hit rocks.
Yes.
That's all I can say about that.
I bet there are other videos out there like that.
Think?
Yeah. You want me to shut these engines off or what?
No. Take no chances of them not coming back on. Can you believe that? Was it running?
The time lapse was. This wasn't. What he's talking about is when we ran aground, the boat lurched up and out of the water. We hit something pretty hard. There was a red marker, and it's weird how it showed that you should make a right angle around it. We tried to cut across. And it seems in Okeechobee that's not something that you do. In Tampa, where there's usually just a sandy bottom, if we're heading back in and there's a red marker, instead of going around it and keeping the marker on our right when we're returning to the channel, sometimes in Tampa we'll cut corners. And the chart said everything was 13 feet. So we thought we were okay. We had just been talking about that too, because someone had mentioned it to me. Stay in the channel.
That ain't good.
But Mike saw it down below were props that were twisted up pretty badly. It was still intact though. And when they spun, they still did push the boat just a little bit. Fortunately, the rudders were not destroyed and we were taking on water. We kind of got off rather easy, I think. Well, now that you know what they look like, and we know what they look like, we can pull the anchor and keep on going, hopefully, and find a place that'll haul us out. That's straight. I might be able to pull us. Yeah, go straight a little bit. All right, hold it.
We do have control. The engines are running and we're limping back. I mean, we're not going fast, but we're making sailboat time anyways. We're gonna try to, I'm fixing to get on the phone and call and see what we can do about a haul out. And we'll go from there.
I just want to point out something. You see that? I'm not saying anything. Well, I guess I'm suggesting something. We got back underway, making sure to keep the red markers on our right-hand side, and we had a new top speed of about 5 or 6 miles an hour. Mike was looking for help or ideas on social media.
Yeah, this is the help sent to me from Facebook. They figured this would help me.
Jokers. Finally, having made it all the way across the lake, we found a place where we could top off our fuel and assess our situation.
Roland Martin's Marina, Channel 9. This is good times.
Roland Martin, didn't they have like a TV show or something?
I don't think this is the same Roland Martin. All right, thanks, sir.
Gasoline.
And a new prop.
Right. This guy at the fuel dock was about to give us some pretty helpful information and teach us that we had another goal now to reach if we wanted to keep going for any length of time today. You have pesky rocks hanging out under the water out there.
Yeah.
All right, you got it? We're about to learn that today we had to have a schedule, unlike usual.
Alright, Captain, you belong to me.
Neutral.
I'm neutral.
Yep.
Go that way, I'm saying, instead of
You
going
gotta
back.
go that way. Glades Boatyard is that way.
Okay.
And you can't miss it.
Okay, how far is it from here? Roughly
28 miles. You'll go back out the lock.
Right.
Take a hard turn to port. It'll put you in the rim canal.
Right.
You'll go 12 miles. That'll take you to Moorhaven.
More.
You'll make another hard turn to port to go into that lock. That'll put you in Caloosahatchee River.
Correct.
Can't get lost.
Perfect. You gotta go one way. We want to go back.
There's only one way to go. And it's just like traveling
And is
down
there any
90
locks between there and that marina?
No.
Perfect. So
you got 2 more after that to get to Fort Myers.
we can get about 5.5 knots comfortably. Now we know no vibrations.
What, 2 o'clock?
Yeah.
You've got to make that lock at Moorhaven no later than 4:30. You got 2.5 hours or thereabouts. 2 hours. You got 2 hours.
and we're making 5, 10.
You're making 10, you can do it easy.
No,
Yeah.
I'm saying we're making 5.
5 miles an hour.
Yeah, so 2 hours is 10 miles.
Right, you have 12 miles to go. And if you get there 1 minute late, then you're over. Trust me. I know.
So there is a lock that we need to go through in order to get to
That's
this
one
point.
lock you have to go through.
Okay.
So from the time we got to go, because it's just about 2 o'clock, as long as we make it in 2.5 hours,
Right.
we should
you
be
got-
able to.
It's about 2, I don't know what time it is.
It's
exactly.
2 o'clock, it's 1:58.
2 o'clock. All right. You've got 2.5 hours to make 12 miles. Okay, but it's a straight shot. You ain't got no bridges or nothing between here and there.
I think we can do it. We're actually making 5.5.
Yeah. Could be close.
Call the lock. Call Moorhaven Lock and tell them.
Write that down.
that
Moorhaven
you know,
Lock.
Ask them.
That we're limping if we close.
Yeah,
if we're
you're
close.
limping, but you got to get to Blaze Boatyard, and you know, if you're going to be 10, 15 minutes late, what will they do for you?
Right.
Personally, I don't think they'll do anything. The guy at Moorhaven, he may do it for you. He's a pretty nice guy.
Okay.
The other locks, I
What's
can
he
tell you
drink?
right now, if you're a minute late, they won't open.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to shoot. I think we make that. No problem.
Okay.
If you don't make Moorhaven, the only thing you can do is tie up to the dolphins on this side of the lock. You can do that. You know what a dolphin is?
Yeah,
The big
well,
one.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
You can tie up to the dolphins.
Okay, but if we get in the lock and we're in the river now,
Okay, you're
where
in the
should
river.
we stay?
When you go down past Moorhaven, you'll go through the railroad bridge, which is open, unless there's a train coming.
Right.
There is a city dock on the starboard side, okay, that you can stay at.
Do they have power?
Yes,
Awesome. That's Moorhaven.
that's Moorhaven City Dock.
Okay. That's
No
right.
big deal.
Yeah.
No big deal.
This guy right here is a big YouTuber, so we're gonna put all this on YouTube. It'll be seen by thousands of
Thank you,
people.
sir.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
All right, you through, or you got another
done.
tank?
That's
no,
it.
No,
You good?
It's full
All right.
action.
All right, Cap, I'll have it inside for you.
All right. Appreciate all your good information. That's where we needed to.
Yeah,
No.
that's very valuable. As usual, people on the water proved to be very nice. This marina was no exception. You get her started, I'll get her loose. All right, you're free. So now for the first time on our trip, we were in a rush. We could only go so fast though before the boat started vibrating and we worried about breaking things or causing leaks where the propeller shafts go through. So where are we going?
Yeah.
That way?
Moorhaven Lock, right? That's the next. We've got to meet the Moorhaven Lock. I mean,
Onward to the Moorhaven Lock.
if we don't make the Moorhaven Lock at 4:30, they will not let you through. We'll be sleeping in the lake.
How we got this? The next 2.5 hours were filled with nothing more than straight, boring looking canals and a lot of anticipation as to whether or not we were actually going to make this lock in time. Alright, we made it. They're closing at 4:30. It's now 4:16. 4:17. We're just making it.
Of course, we have damaged props,
Yeah.
and we were all worried that because if we didn't get through here, we'd be spent. First of all, we'd spend the night out here with all the mosquitoes and no power.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't be able to go any further today. We'd have to stop right here. So
Yeah.
we made it, even with the damaged props. We made it.
We called up the guy running the place,
Yeah.
and he was really cool. He was like, "Yeah, come on." He says, "I'll wait for you."
So we're actually about 15 minutes ahead of schedule.
Yep. Whew. All right, I'm gonna run up front.
I'm all worried about it. Got enough to worry about.
Ain't no rocks or locks. Gonna keep good times from happening. That's the man up there.
You guys out running GPS, didn't you?
Ah, We didn't want to be late. We held on to the ropes, as usual, as the gates behind us closed. This lock actually went by pretty quickly though, because there was only a 2-foot difference between one side of the lock and the other. The gates in front of us opened pretty quick. We dropped down a little bit and we were back underway really fast.
Hey, brother.
Just a little push off the wall. Mike put it in gear. Then we entered the Caloosahatchee River. Look at this guy trying to make it.
You better get your move on, son.
We thought we were late.
4:20. Hey, well, he said 10 till. Because they
5.
close at 5.
Yeah.
It's smart to say 4:30.
Yeah.
It gives you more minutes.
For all the people that like to be late.
Yeah.
Don't be late, don't be late. Before long we saw the railroad bridge the guy had mentioned to us. Choo-choo! Swing bridge. And then we passed by the marina that he had mentioned to us, because we realized that the skies were still pretty nice and we wanted to make a little bit more mileage, considering we could only go so fast. So we decided to head for the River Forest Yachting Center, a considerable distance down the channel. And we watched the weather ahead of us start to look a little challenging. This front had passed and we didn't know if we'd be able to power through the wind. We're pushing through. But the weather started to clear, and all in all, I think we made a good amount of traveling that day, even with all the adversity. Soon we were going to be at the place where we would get to spend the night. The channel leading in sure was skinny, and there were some creatures there to greet us. Most places have a watchdog. This place has a watch alligator. We need one of these little signs out there in the lake where those rocks were. It's like they're all watching you. They're all watching you.
Yeah, I can't go diving here, bro.
I wouldn't suggest it. At the end of this channel, there turned out to be a really big marina. Ooh, look at that water, man. Dirty, 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 dirty. The place was big, brand new, and there were some $1 million boats tied up all over the place. It was pretty surprising. It also looked pretty abandoned. It was very odd. But it was kind of late, and we didn't care as long as we had a place to tie up and plug in. That is a wrap for today. It actually feels good to be on terra firma. At the end of this day, the mood was a little bit somber. We just took it easy. We had something to eat. I did a little bit of computer work, and we did a little bit of a boat tour real fast, but aside from that, our main priority was to just get some rest and be glad that we had made it as far as we did and didn't get stranded out there in the lake. No more video editing tonight. Tonight we'll just sit here and look at the thunder and lightning that's coming. And dream about the adventures to come tomorrow.